Uzumaki, adored by all manipulative men and women, is one of the most iconic horror mangas of all time. If I just go outside and ask a random person if they ever heard of Uzumaki before, they probably punch me and say, "What the fuck? Who the fuck are you? And what are you doing in my house cosplaying as Sonic?" Anyways, what is an Uzumaki? Who is an Uzumaki? And why is an Uzumaki? Well, Uzumaki for starters is translated to spiral in Japanese. Who and why is Uzumaki is not really a question. Just want to throw you off for me being philosophical all of a sudden. Unless you're talking about Naruto, then yeah, he is an Uzumaki. I did not watch Naruto. Before we spiral any further into this topic, let's take a step back and talk about the mastermind behind all of this, Junji Ito. A legendary figure in the world of horror manga and probably the only one that is good at it. In my opinion, he holds a monopoly amongst the other horror mangakas where their works are not really good. It's like Epic Games and Steam. Come on, who actually uses Epic Games other than the fucking Chun-Li twerk compilation game? His works are all about tapping into that deep primal fear of, well, a lot of things. I can't even explain the fuck is going on here. How do I shit my pants looking at human balloons and a fucking guy who is mewing all the time? It's like the fear that creeps up on you slowly, making you feel uneasy, and then BAM! Fish. Born in 1963 in Gifu Prefecture, Junji Ito started out as a dental technician before transitioning into, well, this guy. His early interest in horror came from reading the works of Kazuo Umezu, one of his inspirations, who is also another famous horror manga artist. Well, the OG I guess, which unfortunately not a lot of people talk about. Okay, I'm taking my words back for a bit on the whole other horror mangaka's manga is not that good. He's the only exception. He looks like Waldo too, which I really like. Look at him go. I think I'm getting off track here. I want to give an example, but like I'm sure everyone and their ancestor knows and talk about the enigma of Amigara Fault, and I don't want to be the 500th person to talk about it. So let's talk about Hellstar Remina, actually one of my favorite works of his. Imagine looking at the stars, filled with awe at the vastness of the universe, only to realize that one of those stars is looking back and it's a giant-ass mukbanger heading towards to eat the whole planet. Jeez, did I just prescribe like a vor fetish? I'm sorry guys. That's the premise of Hellstar Remina, a cosmic horror manga by none other than Mr. Horror Guy. The story begins with the discovery of a mysterious new star by scientist Dr. Oguro, who names it after his daughter Remina. The discovery excites the world apparently, and Remina becomes an overnight sensation. I mean, it's pretty realistic. If the fucking Hawk Tuah girl can be famous, so can Remina. Wealth, fame, power. She got it all. It's soon discovered that the star isn't just a star. It's alive. Not only that, but it's traveling towards our solar system, consuming planets and stars in its path like me. Yeah, I eat planets, stars, fuck you. As the star, or rather the planet Remina, approaches Earth, panic spreads worldwide. But what's worse, people start believing that Remina is somehow responsible for this cosmic disaster. And of course, the public, being the rational people they are, freaks out. But not because there's a sentient planet heading towards Earth, no. They decide that the real problem is Remina the girl, because I guess naming a planet after your daughter magically makes her responsible for it now. So now Remina, who was living her best life, goes from Mr. Beast to Mr. Beast Lunchley. People legit think that if they sacrifice her, the planet is going to do a YouTuber's apology and say, "I've made a continuous lapse of my judgment." Sacrifice the girl and everything will be fine, you know, normal Monday stuff. Throughout the story, Remina and a small group of survivors are on the run, trying to escape the chaos and the crazed masses. The tension is relentless, with each chapter revealing more about the horrors the planet is capable of, and the lengths humanity will go in the face of such an incomprehensible threat. And the worst part? The planet is just doing its thing. It's not evil. It doesn't care about Earth or us or Remina. It's like when you step on an ant, it doesn't even register. We're just tiny snacks on its cosmic smorgasbord. That's the real horror here. How insignificant we are when the universe decides it's time for a snack. Let's talk about the planet itself, the titular Hellstar Remina. It's not just a planet. Is an entity, a living, breathing organism with a monstrous appearance. Ito's depiction of the planet is both awe-inspiring and horrifying. It looms in the sky, growing even larger with its tendrils stretching out, devouring everything in its path. This idea of the universe as a hostile, unknowable force is a key element of cosmic horror, and Ito captures it perfectly here. But the real horror in Hellstar Remina isn't just the planet itself, it's humanity's reaction to the impending doom. As the planet draws closer, society crumbles, people resort to violence, paranoia, and superstition. Junji Ito portrays the fragility of civilization in the face of something so vast and uncontrollable, asking a terrifying question. What happens to humanity when we realize how small and powerless we truly are? Remina becomes a symbol of innocence caught in the madness. Despite her innocence, she's scapegoated for events beyond her control. It's a reoccurring theme in Ito's work, the senselessness of fear and how it drives people to abandon reason. The horror isn't just the physical threat of the planet, it's the way society unravels. In the end, Hellstar Remina is classic Junji Ito, a cosmic horror that reminds us how tiny and powerless we are in the grand scheme of things, and also that humans will always find a way to make things worse. Yeah. Alright, I just wanted to discuss his other adaptation before going to the big one. So, we're diving into the Junji Ito Collection anime, which, if you haven't seen it, it is basically Junji Ito's greatest horror hits, except, without the great part. Imagine taking one of the most iconic horror artists of all time and saying, hey, let's make an anime out of this. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? Oh, I wish it was. Well, the Junji Ito Collection anime looked at all that potential horror and say, yeah, I'm good, man. This anime somehow manages to take every creepy element and make it boring. This is horror without the horror, and it's the best shitty fucking thing I've watched. Look at this. Here's the manga, creepy, unsettling, and gives you actual chills. And now here's the anime, which looks like a PowerPoint presentation with less passion. The worst part is that it's not just one episode that's bad. It's a whole collection. They took all of Ito's classic stories and turned them into this weird soup of good enough. Like, how the fuck do you mess up the long dream? He dreams and dreams, what balls, man. What the fuck is this script? There are plenty of horror anime that get it right. Stuff like Another, which I really like actually. Which is practically Final Destination the anime. So yeah, if you're looking for a true Junji Ito experience, just read the fucking manga. Stare at a wall or just close your eyes and imagine something scary. Did you know that Uzumaki also has a live-action adaptation? Probably, but I want to discuss about it. The live-action adaptation directed by Higanshiki? That's his name? Just Higanshiki? Anyways, it's just 1990s CGI, and that makes it feel like a low-budget student film. I know I'm probably nitpicking, but some of the effects look like they were rendered on a PlayStation 2. It's like one of those bootleg PS2 GTA Goku mods. The acting, on the other hand, they just look confused and scared, but like not too scared, It's like everyone's just thinking, man, this is kind of weird, huh? That typical stuff, but that's just in the anime also. Spoiler alert. To be fair, I get it's hard to capture the sheer madness of Junji Ito's artwork in a movie, especially on a budget of a Fortnite battle pass. The most painful part is that there are moments in the movie where you can see the potential. It's Uzumaki, how can you fuck it up? I think I'm probably gonna regret those words, but it's all buried under this bizarre pacing, awkward acting, and dated CGI. In the end, the Uzumaki live action is more of a weird fever dream than a horror experience that I watched and I didn't like. Alright, finally, the Uzumaki anime. The anime that I waited for fucking 5 years, and how is it? It's alright. I watched it like at 3 AM with my friend, and it was the worst decision in my life because I just got off work and I was like, let's watch the fucking Uzumaki anime, because I had this video in mind for like a month. From the very beginning, you're just bombarded with, what else? Spirals. And the episode starts off with this absolute banger of an opening. No joke, if there's one thing this anime nails in the first episode, it's the atmosphere. And speaking of atmosphere, let's talk about Colin Stetson, the guy behind the music. If you've never heard of him, he's worked on horror soundtracks like Hereditary, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, by the way. And now he's here in Uzumaki. Yay! This episode was also directed by Aki Itami, a veteran when it comes to storytelling, I guess. But what's really important here is the color direction. It's black and white, which I really like. They brought in the guy who actually understands Uzumaki's weird aesthetic just for like 2 episodes lol. So, we get introduced to our main characters, Kiri and Suichi. Kiri, our protagonist, just trying to live her life, while Suichi, basically the guy in the back of the class drawing furry hentai. He kinda looks like me also, so his name is now Anime0915. We then get a glimpse of just how obsessed his dad is with spirals, rolling his eyes, demanding spiral soup like a Reddit mod, but yeah, his dad is kinda weird. Even needing spirals in the bathtub when he's taking a bath. Later on from a distance, we see a lighthouse that's ominously mentioned in the episode. It's dark, looming, and it's probably something vital that is going to appear in every fucking episode. We then cut to Father Guy wanting to commission a piece of that embodies the art of the spiral. His obsession slowly grows into insanity, losing it, going super insano mode, this obsession of fucking spirals. We're also introduced to Azami, who's got this moon-shaped scar on her forehead. She's giving off that full pick-me girl vibe and expects everyone to be into her, but then Shuichi literally just fucking runs away the moment he sees her because he's convinced that Azami is the Uzumaki. I don't know how that fucking works, he just has a sixth sense I guess. Kiri, who is tasked to deliver the piece to the Father Guy, while the Father Guy rocking his Pokemon onesies, then he just fucking goes tongue mode activated. I don't know, tongue spiral I guess. Me when I'm in the longest tongue competition and my opponent is Father Guy tongue. Later in the scene, pick-me girl Azami, super in shock, is baffled on why someone would reject her. But then we find out her accent, or whatever the fuck it is growing into a spiral. Suichi, as per usual, runs away. Things escalate quickly and Father Guy dies, rest in peace the goat. The town gossip mill says he fell down the stairs. His body is then cremated in the Minecraft furnace and bam! His smoke becomes the spiral. And now his smoky spiral goes, or whatever the fuck, starts infecting the whole town. The real reason of Father Guy's death is that he becomes a snake from the Nokia game When I Win, cramming himself into the tub, thus turning him into the spiral that he wanted to become. The mom guy losing her husband is seeing hallucination of Father Guy in the sky and goes super Joker mode and starts laughing. Proceeding to the Azami B plot, the spiral is slowly becoming bigger on her forehead, practically having a caught headshot. At the hospital, Shuichi's mom starts losing it. She's missing her husband's tongue game and going off the rails, mimicking her husband's obsession with spiral but in a bad way. Seeing the spirals everywhere, even in her hair. Checking back on that Azami storyline though, we're introduced to Aura Guy, who is thirsting over Azami and will do anything to get her to be his girlfriend. We got new character introduction, Greasy Guy. Well, first and foremost, Greasy Guy is greasy, as you can see here. I think he's played out to be one of those kids who get bullied, for example like the class laughing at him, being ass at volleyball, and then like after the most normal prank ever, we see that he has a spiral outline on his back. Mom Guy, now fully transitioning to Walter White, having all these insane delusions of a spiral, starts shaving her head and even going as far as cutting her fingerprints with scissors. All while saying that every single spiral she sees triggers the memory of discovering Father Guy's dead body, saying that he is calling out to her to become one with him in the spiral. Finally, the end of the fucking stupid ass Azami plotline, her spiral keeps getting worse until her eye literally just falls inside of the spiral. It's an iconic scene in the manga. If I just type Uzumaki in Google, I just see this scene, and it's good. They did it well on adapting it. Also, yeah, she then becomes a spiral vacuum and sucks Aura Guy off, which before he got cucked by Suichi, unfortunately. Azami becomes a spiral and dies, the end for her. The episode ends with a second ominous shot of the lighthouse and a snail shell that will be a vital role in the next episode. The ending is also sang by Uki Satake, who voices Kiri, which I also really liked. Overall, episode 1 is a pretty good adaptation and I really liked it. Too bad it continued for 3 more episodes. Episode 2 of Uzumaki, where things somehow gets worse. We kick things off with Greasy Guy from the first episode doing something on his back. After the intro, there's this 144p zoom in into a couple in a house or whatever. This episode's B plot. We're seeing a perspective on other people's experiencing the spiral, with this couple seeing a sausage roll snake, saying it's creepy and that they are fighting, but in actuality they are having snake sex. We then cut to Kiri and her friend in a cemetery. Her friend saying that the town has been doing burials instead of cremating, possibly because of the father guy incident. All while the animation kinda goes a bit not that good. Especially this scene where it just looks like a flash animation. Then bam! In the scariest moment of the entire anime, we're introduced to Ultra Riz guy, or Jack in the Box. He confesses his love for Kiri, and apparently his way on getting to her is just FNAF jump scaring her in the cemetery. Kiri then stumbles across the couple we saw earlier where their parents are separating them. She then talks to Kazunori, which is the guy from the couple, and he mentions that he used to settle into an old abandoned row house, which is for basically poor people in town, also mentioning several times the word twisted, possibly indicating that they're probably gonna be the snake sausage roll. We then cut to Kiri visiting Heisenberg. Man, I don't know. I'm just looking at my notes right now, it's all gibberish. I don't know what the fuck I was writing, like I just wrote stuff like she looks like Jessie and Kiri meets Heisenberg. I'm so sorry guys. Kiri and Suichi has a conversation saying that recently the entire town has slowly been infected by the spiral, giving an example when they're touched by the spiral, which has the clear power to draw everything straight into its center. Shuichi saying that Kiri's hair is longer, which is a plot point by the way soon. Then bam, she then starts to grow spirals on her hair, and then she turns into Funny Valentine from JoJo Part 7. Meanwhile, Greasy Guy fully evolves into a snail, thus becoming Slimy Guy, slithering up the school while the Funny Guy is laughing at him. Truly normal behavior here. Kiri then goes to a salon to try to cut her hair off, but then the hair starts attacking. The hair, which develops somewhat of a conscious behavior, starts strangling Kiri because she tried to cut it. Then, the hair just fucking brainwashes people into liking it, and then, well, she becomes the most popular girl. On the other hand, Tomi lookalike is jealous that Kiri is having all the attention, therefore probably is going to do something soon. Kiri, who probably relates to the fucking guy who turns into the snail, starts watering him, but before that, Slimy Guy's parents sees him and get disgusted by him. They've just witnessed their son's final Discord mod transformation. Now this is my favorite scene in the entire series, is when Ultra Riz guy, who stumbled across Kiri to give a token of his love, Kiri being the Ultra Sigma rejects it, and he then just fucking kills himself. In the box we find out what's inside. It's a fucking Jack in the Box. I don't really know what to say about it, but it was fucking hilarious. Sumura, which is the guy who made Slimy Guy naked, becomes a snail and they start having snail sex. This episode is so fucking weird, dude. On the other hand, Tomi lookalike copies fucking Kiri's hairstyle and they have like a 1v1 hair battle. I guess I can see that this parallels snake fighting, like the hair symbolizing dominance and danger, reflecting a psychological struggle between these characters. Kiri, who fucking lost the battle, is saved by Shuichi, who tries to cut off her hair but then gets engulfed by it like a cocoon. He manages to cut their hair and free himself, saving both of them while giving Kiri a sick ass haircut. Tomi lookalike on the other hand is just euphoric on the attention that she gets with the hair, but at the end her hair gets tangled or something and she just fucking dies. Back to Slimy Guy, he escaped and he's now left the full on snail trail in town. And it's not just a gross streak on the ground, it's a full blown snail sex trail. The teacher, finding out their eggs, is jealous that their students are having premarital sex and destroy their offspring. Then we get the iconic scene, baby! We see the couple from earlier make a return and try to escape to the beach. They then, as Kazunori said, literally become twisted together in a grotesque embrace, which probably reflects on how obsessive attachment and unhealthy dynamics can suffocate individuality and lead to mutual destruction. That transformation into a singular horrifying entity illustrates how extreme emotional entanglement can strip away personal boundaries, distorting their humanity in the process. In essence, the twisted couple embodies the consuming nature of obsession and how it erodes identity, leaving only an inseparable mass of fear and dependence, something like that. I don't know, I just came that up on the spot. It just came up in my head. I'm like, after that whole thing, we just see the spiral is taking effect on the town, where some of the residents can't even walk straight and just walk in a circle. We also see that the teacher also becomes a snail, thus making him snail say. We then finally get to see what's inside the lighthouse when Kiri's brother Mitsuo and his friends just run into the ominous abandoned lighthouse. Each step of the lighthouse, it feels like going around in a never-ending circle, while in the background spiral starts to appear. Kiri stating that something smells like it's burning, then bam, burned bodies. On the top of the lighthouse, the lens becomes somewhat of an all-seeing eye of spiral, and which the light is hot enough to melt glass. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, just standing there looking at the fucking light that is about to kill them, but yeah. Oh, one of the kids die and Kiri and Mitsuo gets engulfed in flames. The end. And that's for episode 2 of Uzumaki. So, episode 3 of Uzumaki starts off in the hospital with Kiri miraculously surviving the previous events. Why? Plot armor, I guess. We also see Shuichi's mom saying that she's feeling better now, but still terrified about spirals. The antagonist of the episode, I guess. The mosquito swarm, or like mosquitoes in general. We're also introduced to Keiko, Kiri's cousin, who will be a vital role in the episode. Unpacking Keiko's stuff, Kiri finds a fucking bike handle. Suddenly, most of the patients in the hospital come out dead from the best head they ever gotten, and seemingly to be completely covered in stab wounds. Keiko is pregnant, and Shuichi, seeing a mosquito in the room, uses bug spray near a pregnant lady. He gets kicked out, obviously. Keiko doesn't mind the mosquito bites and actually likes them a lot. This shows that Keiko is probably infected with the spiral. It's obvious, yeah. Kiri then wakes up to a pregnant lady duplication glitch where they are holding handrails going to each patient to suck them off. Kiri, getting spotted by one of the pregnant ladies, gets into the slowest chase possible. I mean, like, what the fuck, they're pregnant, they can't be that fast. Luckily, due to plot armor, a guy just randomly walks in and fucking dies. They also have like brainwashing powers for some reason. They really gotta nerf pregnant ladies. Can't wait for the next patch. People are dying, getting sucked off, and then BAM! Kiri gets spotted again, but it's okay. The magical bug spray that Anime 0915 uses earlier is used to scare the pregnant ladies. The next morning, they just look fine, like nothing fucking happened. Kiri telling the doctors about the situation that happened last night, just to get Shun Lamau wrecked. Oh yeah, I forgot to put this side story also, but apparently you know the snail looking thing that is in your ear? Yeah, Shuichi doesn't want his mom to find about that, but apparently she does find out about it through Father Guy. Wanting to remove all the spirals in her body, she panics and wants to find proof that this snail-looking thingy is like a hidden spiral Easter egg inside of her. She becomes even more crazy, that even her IV drip becomes a spiral, and believing that Father Guy is inside her ear. Of course, the most logical answer to this is to stab your ear. She becomes a mummy for some reason, for only like stabbing her ears, which I really don't understand. Doctors, please tell me. Oh shit, she fucking dies. And then Minecraft Furnace gets another victim. Let's go! The babies are born and Kiri gets fed some shitty ass mushroom that tastes like blood. The pregnant ladies of course love it because they're fucking crazy. Kiri and Shuichi takes a peek into the baby room and apparently can just fucking talk. Just like one that... This is a fucking boss baby. It's fucking boss baby. Also, they grow mushroom. Keiko is held in Asmongold's room, and a doctor explains his finding on the infinite fluid glitch. Stating that the placentas, the baby, stating the babies grow their placentas at the end of their umbilical cord every time. Keiko sucks someone off again, and people go cray-cray about the mushroom room. We then cut to Kiri getting discharged from the hospital and like nothing ever fucking happened, they throw a fucking party for some reason. Kiri looks so unbothered about what happened and her cousin probably dying, but sure, party, yay! Suichi is also getting infected by the spiral as he hates Italian food now, especially spaghetti. On the other hand, Kiri's dad's infection towards the spiral is getting worse as he is saying that Father Guy is a genius and opened his eyes to what true art is. Kiri then stumbled across her dad's art, an amalgamation of spiral where faces such as Suichi's mom and dad are there. Minecraft Furnace is actually evil, and Suichi burns down Kiri's house like a true friend. They're homeless now lol, and it's the typhoon season I guess. As confirmation, the Tomi lookalike from the previous episode is dead. Anime0915 then forcefully asks Kiri to come with him and leave her family behind. They end up getting sucked into the storm, but you know, plot armor, so they live. We then cut to Kiri's family in a shack while a guy just looks into the glory hole in the shack. A neighbor comes knocking by, let's just call him NPC5. Hi. Because he just looks like NPC5. Saying that the monster room is started off as someone looking strange due to suffering from a chronic illness. Things happen and an old woman's son die. I don't know how this is related to the plot, but okay. I guess it's telling the main characters that this place is not safe to stay at. It turns out NPC5 is the creepy guy that is looking at the eye hole, obsessing over Kiri, stating that he can't take his eyes off of her. NPC5 grows tendrils on his hand, showing the other crazy infections the spiral can give. He bursts through the wall and fucking dies, so that's it for NPC5. We also see Ultra Riz guy back. he dies. Yeah, that's the end of episode 3. I don't know what to say about this episode. I feel like everything is just happening. Like from the story of the pregnant ladies and the tendril guy. I don't know, man. I swear to God, I'm slowly getting insane. This story starts off with some randos. They fucking die except for one. We then see the town completely obliterated by the spiral and typhoons, a barren landscape filled with debris. There's also the fucking butterfly gang. I don't know, they know how to control the tornadoes, I guess. I feel like I'm dying watching this. We also finally know who is the fucking person who didn't die. Her name is Chie Maruyama, a reporter from Toyo TV. She seems very unbothered, no sense of grief after seeing her coworkers die. The house that they were living in is filled with people now from the destruction caused by the typhoon, and promptly Kiri and the gang gets kicked out because of Suichi. We get to see the snails again. Butterfly gang eats them lol, and that's all there is. Oh shit, they also rebranded as the Dragonfly gang and fucking kills Kiri's dad and just fucking dies also. In 7 minutes of the episode, we're introduced to this stupid fucking gang for no reason other than to make Kiri's dad fly away somewhere and get fucking killed. I don't really know what the fuck is this shit anymore. We then introduced to some people who are trying to escape this town. People are being snails and the scares of the spirals are getting stronger. They came to a conclusion that the safest place in the town is the row houses, as according to them, it's the only houses that doesn't get destroyed by the typhoon. Some shenanigans happen, I don't know how to explain this episode. The people in the house become some amalgamation of people and spirals, I guess. They get crazy and start to eat the snail, which is probably the best thing to do. Have you ever had escargot? That shit actually really good, man. I ain't blaming them. Who cares that they're human? You could say they're no longer human by Osamu Dazai. Yeah, and then we find out that Mitsuo is turning into a snail. They probably want to do some emotional impact in the story before they end it. They then head into the spiral forest where they get lost, feeling like they're going in loops with no escape. Mitsuo turns into a snail and that's it for him. The people turn into some spiral thing and that's it for them also. We then get lore about the row houses, Shuichi stating that maybe long ago there was just one spiral structure over the years. It slowly decayed and crumbled, leaving only a handful of scattered remnants behind. And now what we see here is what the town originally looked like. Going inside the row houses, they meet up with Tanizaki, a guy that I didn't mention because he is probably gonna die soon, but he says that it's been years since they met them, implying that time has also succumbed into the spiral in this town. Chi fucking dies, and they finally reach the source of the spiral that was under the dragonfly pond. Shuichi gets pulled in the hole and the animation is solid. Kiri fucking falls in the hole and we finally see the source of the spiral. A huge ruin like nothing ever seen before. A city of spirals covered with bodies that are like spaghetti. This structure reveals a horrifying truth. The entire town and its residents are a part of an internal cycle of the spiral, predating even recorded history. Kiri and Shuichi, who have grown wary of resisting the spiral's influence, resign themselves to their fate. As they lie entwined, their bodies twist and merge in a grotesque embrace, mirroring the twisted couple earlier in episode 2. The ending implies that the curse has finally consumed them, and they have become yet another part of the endless spiral. Also, the spiral just ends when they die. Yeah. So yeah, that was Uzumaki the anime. I haven't read the manga in like a couple of years, so revisiting this in anime form was, well, let's just say, yeah, it's okay. And I think Uzumaki is just one of those mangas that's unadaptable. There are some good elements here, the eerie atmosphere, the Colin Stats' soundtrack bringing that unsettling vibe, but the story, it just feels like a mishmash of everything spiraling out of control. It's chaotic, disjointed, and after all that build up, I don't know, I just don't like it that much. I waited fucking 5 years for this shit, by the way. Now, don't get me wrong, the animation isn't as bad as people make it out to be. I actually quite like it. It's not perfect and there are definitely some janky moments, but it nails that unsettling look of a cursed town going to absolute hell. It captures some of that weird, almost dreamlike horror of Junji Ito, and you know, whoever says like the animation is horrible, come on, have you seen Nanatsu no Taizai? But at the end of the day, even with all those positives, it still feels like something got lost in translation from page to screen. Maybe it's the pacing, or maybe it's the sheer madness of the source material that doesn't quite fit the 4 episodes it has. Whatever it is, this adaptation just didn't hit like I hope it would. So yeah, I guess if you're really curious, check it out, or just read the manga. Anyways, I'm going to manipulate some random person. See you on the next episode. Peace out!